Good evening, everyone.
Oh
Welcome to
Lord.
Tuesday night
Oh,
Q&A
I still don't have it
featuring
together. I'm working on
featuring
it.
E-Train, who has been trying to redecorate the remote studio from her current location.
Oh, y'all, I just did the whole wrong thing. Just continue on. I got it. I'm working on it.
It's good to be with y'all tonight. Hope y'all have had a good start to the week so far. Hello, Sky. How are you doing? Good to see you. Sorry to keep you waiting. We won't mention any names or whose fault it was. It wasn't mine.
It couldn't have been mine. I don't even know what day it is right now. I'm still trying to find X. Hey X, what's going
And
on?
the
There we
holidays
go.
are only just beginning. So
Shot who what?
holidays are all only just beginning.
Yeah, I know,
So the
right?
fun is just beginning. Hello, Jane. How are you doing? Good to see you. Hope you're staying warm up in Pennsylvania. Was just chatting with a uh, via text friend up in Montana, and it's 37 up there. I always think Montana's like near zero, but
37 is not too bad.
37 is not bad at all, and
Mm-mm.
just absolutely beautiful state. I keep thinking about moving up there. Then I think about the winters. Then I think, well, the winters probably aren't that bad because it's a dry cold versus like
Okay.
I spent a winter up on the north side of Chicago and the wind blowing off that lake didn't matter what I wore, it was cold to the bone.
Hmm.
And so, but I've been out in Colorado skiing and it's been, I don't know, 20 degrees. And you've got, girls out there in bathing suits, bikinis, and people just, whatever. It's a dry cold and it just doesn't have the same effect as, very humid or damp cold. So, but yeah,
I'm
I just,
trying, Clay. I'm really trying to move this.
and and I just want to let y'all know this hasn't just been going on since the show started.
No, no, no. Hey, Sky. Hi, Jane.
Oh, y'all tell E Train hi.
Ugh, y'all.
Tell her she's doing good.
Well, I just, I wasn't here this weekend. And so I got back and then I had to like reset everything up again. And I actually got a tripod today and I don't know where it is, or I would have the camera on it. But we know me.
She'll find the tripod eventually. So
I
the
just got
great
it
adventure
today.
occurs.
Oh, it's right here, actually. Sorry, it's right there. I quit. I'm having a day.
Uh, That's all right. At least you're not a Gen Z.
They're having a mell of a hess of a time.
Yep.
Hmm.
Kind of to kick off discussions. Now, I'm in the middle of finals, and it's been an interesting final season. I don't know why, but I've had 3 or 4 students email me saying they missed the time for their final, and wondered if they could take it some other time. This is more students. This is more students than I've had in my previous 15 years
And
teaching.
if y'all remember, just a few weeks ago, Clay was talking about how excited he was about this new batch of students because they seemed so eager to learn.
And but there's just something going on.
There's a
Um,
disconnect, I think.
there's something there because a number of them are working and still kind of struggling. But like I say, I've never, in all my years combined, I've never had this many students miss a final. Now, I was telling, I have different final dates, couple different final dates. And so I was telling some of them who had a job conflict or who had another pretty serious final scheduled on the same day, I'll work with them. I'll move them. And so, I've got one more Thursday, so I'm letting them, come in and take it Thursday, but it just kind of something's going on. Why so many this semester? Is it just a fluke or is it something in the water? I don't know. I've had, several of them in my office trying to work problems. Hadn't had that in years, so it's good to see. And I think, many of them are putting in the effort. It's just, some things just aren't clicking. It's like they're trying to study, but they just don't know how. They're trying to remember, but they just can't. It's been a really, really weird semester. Very mysterious in all the different locations. Yes, she is. She is a woman of intrigue and mystery, unknowable, unfathomable mysteries. Hello, Melissa. How the hell are you? Jane, I never had a professor accommodate me, even if I was working. I've always, if they have two or more finals, I've always tried to work with them. I think actually it's university policy that they can move one of them. So I just tell them, if they have two or more, whatever, I'll work with them. But having students just absolutely forget or get the wrong time of the final, I've never had that before. It's just weird to me. It's just a different world. And I saw this article and I'm thinking of sending it out to them because I think it's information they ought to know because this is kind of their competition. And this is kind of the reputation that their generation is building.
I have
Scott,
not. Go ahead.
remember the movie Doubt with Meryl Streep and Philip Hoffman? I
Mhm.
watched it today. Disturbing.
What is
I
it?
don't remember the movie. I'm
Uh-uh.
not good with movies.
I don't either. I wonder if this has something to do with the Gen Z or with my mysterious locations
I don't know. Or both.
or both.
But saw this article. Let me blow it up a little bit bigger. And this was a survey of 900 something companies. Actually, it was done a month ago or whatever, but it just came across it. And what they found 75% of companies report that some or all the recent graduates, Gen Zers, were unsatisfactory. If that's not a boom, I don't know what the hell is. Hiring managers say recent college grads are unprepared for the workforce, can't handle the workload, and are unprofessional. 1 in 7 may refrain from hiring Gen Zs. That's pretty severe. That's pretty severe. And, here's one, graph showing how many recent graduates have been successful, where you've got, I don't know, 25% saying all of them. Okay, well, keep in mind, some of them are hiring for really very basic positions. Some of them are Gen Z companies, and everybody there has kind of the same attitude and expectations. But the really bothersome to me is the category where only some have been successful, and then the category about 15%, only a few have been successful. That's to me kind of shocking.
Now, there are some that said none.
Yes. The most frequently cited reasons for why the hires didn't work out were lack of motivation, poor communication skills, a lack of professionalism, struggles with feedback inadequate problem solving abilities. 34%. 40% had poor communication skills. That is just a huge slam on the educational system and parents.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to think about this too. It's like they struggle with feedback because they've not, well, okay, most of their bosses, I assume, are probably Gen X.
No, most of them probably are millennial, few boomers.
Gen X just gets forgotten again. What
Oh,
about
oh,
us?
oh. I thought you meant Gen Z. Who cares about Gen X?
Jeez, so what I was saying is we grew up totally differently where we really don't give a flip what you think about what we say. I mean, we do, but it's like, especially in a job situation, we probably don't have the most tact, the generation as a whole. And then these Gen Zers are like very sensitive because they were raised differently.
Yeah. Like I say, I was thinking of sending this out to my students, not to necessarily yell at them, but to tell them this is their competition. This is kind of the expectation that employers are going to have. And if they want to have a good and highly successful career, they are in the best position of any generation to stand out. And I tell them, be the first in the office, particularly the first 2 years. Be the first in the office, be the last to leave. Find you somebody who's in a position where you want to get to mentor you. Build relationships, earn trust at the office, impress people with your effort, if not your intelligence, your willingness to learn. Go in understanding you really don't know anything and you have a ton to learn, and soak up information. Stay busy. Stay off your damn phone. Stay off your computer unless it's work related. And, you have 2 years to get a great start on the rest of your life. So I was kind of thinking of mailing this out to them with that kind of, I don't know, encouragement, admonition, whatever you want to call it. But I thought I would, kind of run it past y'all and see, one, if it was, y'all's impression or experience, I guess would be a better word. And, kind of what you thought. In my experience, most of that is true. I got to admit, I've seen it some in the classroom, small sample, but in some ways it's telling. In my personal experience, it's constantly on the phone, the little attention span, and communications more like tweets. Yeah.
Clay did tell you about his student that wrote a paper that had emojis in it.
Yeah. Seriously, I kid you not. One of my classes is known as a quote unquote writing intensive class. And so it's part of the university requirements that in this class, they write a paper, I correct it, and then they rewrite it based on the corrections. So, I have to end up being a grammar Nazi, an English teacher, composition, whatever, which is not what I wanted to do. But anyway, and some of the displays of writing, I think I showed y'all one night, one student's, anonymous student, but one student's writing. Didn't I throw that up?
Yeah. Oh, that was a fun night.
Yeah. And that is not the exception. I don't know how these kids graduate from high school and can't even write at a 6th grade level. Everything is sound bites. They are very, very prone to believe, things they hear repeatedly with no real critical or analytical uh, skills, which is
They don't
kind of what we're
question.
supposed to be teaching in college, in
Yeah,
university.
they should be questioning everything.
I
At
mean,
least
when I
that's
was a
what I
teen,
do.
we didn't accept anything. We were, I guess we were on the other extreme, but, we didn't accept anything. They banned emojis at work.
Good.
I guess I have officially reached the age where I bitch about the younger generations. You know,
Oh yeah.
I think that's, part endemic. They've got it easier than we did, is kind of the eternal refrain. But I hope not to bitch just to condemn, but to show them that they have an opportunity. It doesn't really necessarily so much matter where they start. If they go in, they can make a hell of a lot better impression than 99% of their peers, just by trying, just by not whining, just by staying off their phone, coming in, early, leaving late, and trying to find somebody to mentor them and learn. It's not hard. It's not complicated. And if you,
Mhm.
if you get off, and I've told them, go somewhere, work for a year, 2 years, build up a good reputation, and then get another job, because you will get a 25-30% pay raise, and that will be with you for the rest of your life. That'll be a huge improvement in your salary for the rest of your life. Because if you just, unfortunately, if you just stay at one company, you're not as likely to get really significant raises. Promotions would come a lot slower. So, but that first 2 years, I just can't stress to them, or, if y'all are parents, or if y'all are, Gen Zers, I just can't stress to you how important that first 2 years is to getting yourself off to a really strong career start. So,
And Jane, with this one, another thing I've noticed is lack of problem solving skills. They're not willing to try to figure out the answer. They just want you to give it to them. This is something I dealt with when I managed people. And let's say this task that I give to an employee should take 5 minutes. If they come straight to my office and say, how do I do it? I say, if you haven't spent at least 30 minutes seriously trying to figure it out, don't come to me. If it's a 15-minute task, you spend an hour, try to figure it out. Because it's like if you have to come to the path of least resistance every single time to try to get something done, it I never, or I couldn't get anything done with everybody coming and asking me how to do it, and that got really annoying.
yeah, and the thing is, I don't wholly blame the kids, because the system kept passing them through just because they would show up. I was talking to a guy whose wife's a teacher in a local high school, and she said, their new requirements are that if the student turns in anything, they get a 50 at minimum. If they just sign their name on a piece of paper, turn it in, they get a 50. They can't give Fs, basically. So, I'm a huge critic of the educational system.
Yep.
And we've talked about that previously, and how we've spent more and more money and getting worse and worse results. All we get is more and more bureaucracy. The number of students since I think it's during the 50s, and I've thrown this graph up before. The number of students has increased 6%. The number of teachers has increased 9%. the number of bureaucrats and administrators has increased by 85%. So basically, all the money we're spending on education is going into administrators' pockets. It's not going in the classroom.
That's why we need Doge to get rid of the DOE.
Yeah, and since the DOE has been in existence, schools have gotten progressively worse. Scores have continued to decline.
Yep.
So yeah, just not a fan of the bureaucracy and lack of discipline. Teachers can't enforce discipline or structure in the classes now, and I don't understand it. I don't know why. Discipline is not the enemy of education; it's a necessary prerequisite. If you can't maintain discipline and order in a class, you cannot teach that class. You can't teach them a damn thing. So I don't just blame the students. Now, ultimately, it's the students' responsibility to fix whatever their weaknesses are. They need to be aware of them, and they need to work to overcome them. Yeah. So I'll probably send this article out to them.
I think you should.
Try to send it as, here's an opportunity for you.
I think you might want to add on there, Clay, what those terms or those reasons mean. Poor communication skills. You talk like you're texting. Struggles with feedback. If somebody tells you to improve something, don't take it so freaking personally.
Yeah. Yeah, it's business. It's not personal.
Mm-hmm.
That just is a lost understanding now. But anyway, I just saw that and thought I was kind of shocked and kind of not shocked at the same time.
Yeah, Jane.
No Child Left Behind, and this is what we get. Like I say, it is the more money they put into it, the worse it's gotten. And it damn sure hasn't gone in teachers' pockets. What do you think about this Luigi? Luigi Mangione. Smart, handsome, thick eyebrows. He doesn't have thick eyebrows. He has a unibrow. First thing I noticed when I saw the pic, and I was like, whoa, watch those caterpillars. And, in terms of being, smart, handsome, he did all right. He was a valedictorian at his private school. He's a rich kid. But in terms of being smart, in terms of committing the crime, one, he did it right in front of a camera. Two, he, before that, he was in a Starbucks or a coffee shop. I don't know whether he was flirting with the barista or what, but he pulled down his mask. That's where they got the image of his face from. He was in town 10 days, used a fake ID, which is the same fake ID he presented to police when he was first stopped. I mean,
okay, somebody's got to give me a rundown of what happened. I've never heard of this guy.
Okay. Luigi, what I know, and it's certainly not comprehensive, just what I've read, is guy grew up, went to private school, then went to college. He's 26 years old. He is, over the past several years, something happened to his back. I'm not sure what. And he had surgery. And you can see the x-rays. He's got, plates and screws in. He was actually, some friend of his was saying that those plates and screws interfered with his ability to have, let's say, intimate relations.
Gotcha.
And they felt sorry for him. They felt it added to his anger
I should know that chat would know. Okay. Surfing accident in Hawaii
So, yeah, he was living in Hawaii.
and
Spo-
spondylitis.
Spondylosis.
Spondylosis. Okay. Okay. And there's a space in between the eyebrows. And he went to the Gilman School in Baltimore, where the
Only
rich
when he
elite go
shaves
for
it.
medical school. Huh?
Only when he shaves it.
Oh, stop it. School
The
smart, not
unibrow.
get away with murder smart. Okay. So I have not, y'all, clearly I'm living in a cabin. I've been abducted and I haven't heard anything about this.
Yeah, and there were just several, I remember when people were thinking at first it was a hit or a professional assassin, and I was
Who did
like,
he kill?
no,
Who did he kill?
CEO of United Health.
Oh, I heard Nancy Pelosi had something to do with that.
Yeah, and I don't know about that, but if this guy professional, the CEO was walking down a dark side of the street,
Mm-hmm.
and this guy stops right in the lighted area, right in front of the cameras, shoots 20 feet away. Well, and he has, and his gun jams, and so he has to rack the slide several times. But if it was professional, it would have just kind of easily walked up behind him, waited for a dark area with no cameras,
Mm-hmm.
Fired a shot at very close range, dropped the gun or disposed of the gun quickly, because you damn sure don't want to be arrested with that on you.
Do we have a picture of this human?
Yeah, there's several of them out there.
Can you look one up so I can see what we're talking about? Let's your screen's up. God. I'm gonna teach you how to do this podcast thing after a while. He did make his own gun. That takes initiative.
Yeah, he apparently 3D printed the gun.
All right, there you go.
Here's a picture of the hit. Can y'all see that? Maybe I'm blow that up a little bit. Here's a picture of the actual shooting.
Okay.
Now you see the CEO walking on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they cut it out, but
so he waits till he passes him. I guess he was behind him.
Yeah, so he takes one shot here. The guy goes on for a few more steps, kind of falls, and Mangione, if this is Mangione, stays here and just continues to try to rack the gun and fire shots.
Even with that person standing in the corner there.
Yeah.
Huh.
It just and I knew then it wasn't a professional or contract hit. Second, a professional wouldn't be wearing all this crap. Also, I am not sure if he's wearing gloves. Kind of looks like his hands are not wearing gloves. So
I don't think so.
And people at first thought this gun was a well rod or VB9, BT VB9, which has probably the best silencing characteristics of any gun.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, having a little bit quieter suppressor with, here in the middle of the street with people standing around is no advantage. It's not like people aren't going to figure out real quick what's going on anyway.
Right.
And secondly, the way he racks the gun and the problems he has with it, it just didn't look like a well rod. Well, we know now that he 3D printed that gun. So it's not even a gun he purchased. He apparently, had access, don't know where or how, whatever, some of y'all might, but to a 3D printer and basically put in plans and printed his own gun, made his own suppressor. So that's kind of an interesting aspect to this. But there's the guy's picture. And as you can tell, see how straight that line is? He's shaving that.
I think he waxed it.
Or waxed it or something. Yeah.
Hmm.
Dude's got a unibrow. Some of the other pictures are really almost unibrow.
Hmm.
There he is in Hawaii. Kind of a healthy dude. And where did the police catch him? Or where was he discovered?
Pennsylvania.
In McDonald's.
Well, true.
When does a fitness freak with a six-pack abs go to eat at McDonald's? Some things are just, to me, not making sense. He was valedictorian of his class in Baltimore.
Nice school.
Yeah. Master of Science in Engineering, Computer and Information Science.
Hmm.
Now, I saw some comments that he had been estranged from his family for, several years. Don't know. But when you're on the run from the FBI, you go into McDonald's. I mean, McDonald's can't even get your order right, but their people are alert and attentive enough to ID a guy just based off of his eyebrows.
Oh, Lord. Jane, Luigi put something out on social media that says the truth will be revealed on the 11th, which is tomorrow, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Benny Johnson covered it.
Huh. Interesting.
I think he was good for Cocoa Puffs, 100%.
Yeah, there's several different stories out that particularly since his surgery that he just kind of lost his mind. In fact, when he was arrested, he even had I think it was a 3-page manifesto that kind of echoed sentiments similar to Ted Kaczynski, who was the Unabomber.
Yeah.
Don't know if that rings a bell with most people or not, but he apparently, admired Kaczynski. So that's kind of an interesting twist. Melissa, there's not like there's a whole lot in Altoona, Pennsylvania. I
I
mean,
keep forgetting she's from Pennsylvania. Melissa, I apologize. And Jane.
That's true. There's not much in Altoona. But I mean, if you look at the pictures, what they really had was just his eyes. And then that one picture from above in maybe it was Starbucks or some coffee shop. But
was he wearing the same thing?
No.
How'd they know that was the shooter then?
McDonald's people were suspicious and called police, which also is kind of impressive because think about it. If you see somebody that you think is a criminal, I think most people would still be a little hesitant to call the police just out of fear that they had misidentified somebody.
Right.
So, there's just things about this whole story that are just kind of a little unusual, bit by bit by bit.
No, wait. He got a picture from him in Starbucks.
Yes.
And he was not wearing the same thing he was wearing when he killed United Health guy.
Nope.
So how did they know? Okay, y'all are confusing me. A customer recognized him and told the manager or cashier. How did they know he killed the guy? That's what I'm. How did a random person?
Question.
How did a random person in a restaurant know that Luigi killed the guy?
Trying to find the picture in Starbucks.
I mean, was he wearing the same thing? Did they know who it was? Did somebody identify him at the scene? Did somebody take a picture? Yeah, plastered over the news, but why?
Yeah, this was the initial picture they had. They have since found these on his. Police did not release this. They only released this one.
Okay, they recognized him from the wanted posters, but why was he wanted if they didn't have his picture during the shooting?
Well, they had him in the coat, and the police trailed him back to the hotel. They got the fake ID, which, no picture was released from that. And they, part of this was they tracked him, going into the coffee shop. I want to say it's a Starbucks, but I'm not sure. Going into a coffee shop and buying a coffee. And this is where he pulls down his mask. I don't know if he was flirting with the barista or what, but yeah, they had a lot of, photos just from surveillance cameras. But yeah,
so somebody saw him do the shooting.
Yeah. But they couldn't identify him because he had his mask up. The only thing visible was his eyebrows.
Well, that's why I asked if he was wearing the same thing.
Yeah. He was wearing the same coat.
Okay. And you said no before.
Yeah. Here there's.
Hey, Mike.
Oh, hey, Mike. Sorry, I didn't even see that. But I'm like, okay, you're going to work at McDonald's. You see this picture the night before or maybe in the morning. And so you're there working the counter, running the cash register, filling orders, and this guy walks up. Are you going to make that connection?
No.
That's pretty impressive. So.
Okay. He pulled in his mask in the hostel. He wasn't in Starbucks. He was in Starbucks, I think, to buy power bars shortly before the shooting. Okay.
Yeah, something. Like I say, I haven't really gotten all the details on this. Just seen some few brief points.
I'm trying to put two and two together. Like, how did they know it was him?
I don't know.
So now, okay. It's fine. Yeah, okay. Yeah. We're good. A big reward. People know his face.
As far as I know, this was the best picture they had of him.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to his being arrested and identified, this came off his Twitter or Facebook page once he was arrested. So this picture was not floating around. This one was.
Okay.
So this is really the best picture they had before he was arrested.
See, now, Clay, I don't know if y'all know all this about me, but I was in college. I was on a date with my boyfriend, came back to the dorms, and there were two guys in my Jeep stealing my radio. So I walk up to him because I'm an idiot. And I actually spoke to him, asking what they were doing, what was going on. And eventually they took off. I hit the blue light at the campus and the cops came. I couldn't pick them out of a lineup because it was gone. Like,
yeah,
I had nothing. Fortunately, other people were there that saw. Because just not going to say a word. Because my memory sucks.
Sorry. There were multiple photos out there. I was thinking this was the only one, but I could be wrong. That's the only one I remember or, seeing before he was arrested. Now, there were pictures of him, like the video during the deed. There were pictures of him with his mask up. But I don't know. I'm still thinking, like, you look at this picture, what's the first thing you notice?
Which one?
Oh, I took it down. Sorry.
You took it down, yeah.
This one. It's up now.
Which picture?
This one. The one on the right.
The smile. I know you're going to say the eyebrows.
Okay. But... Those eyebrows did him in, I swear. The smile, if he was, smiling big, yeah, you might, but normally if you're ordering something or at a counter at McDonald's, you're not beaming a big, huge smile. But those eyebrows, you can't get you can't hide those puppies. Anyway,
Okay.
all other photos show him wearing a mask, and he was also wearing a mask in McDonald's. Didn't know that. His roommate at the hostel said he wore the mask at all times. They too, even while he ate, only pulling his mask down to take a bite and then putting it back up. Wow, didn't know that.
Hmm. I knew Melissa would have all the deets.
Eyes and eyebrows. Yeah, I am still impressed that he was recognized while ordering it at McDonald's. Maybe if he was doing the mask and the pull down, because that was big video. Maybe that kind of stirred some of it, but I'm still kind of impressed
Yeah.
that they pulled that out. Took mask off to smile at the girl working at the hostel.
I don't
Well,
know
he was
why.
digging on
He couldn't do much with her.
her. Back surgery and eyebrows. Do you in every time?
That was awful. Okay.
We're being awful. I'm not. It was posted everywhere.
I've had a day I'm a little bit slap happy.
That's all right. A little laughter is good for the soul.
Oh, Lord. Oh.
This is Tuesday night. We do have kind of a free form here on Tuesday nights. So,
Yes, we do.
and it's the holidays. So,
It's the schmolidays.
appreciate y'all showing up on the holidays.
Yeah, we thought about not doing it. We're like, I don't think anybody's going to be there. We don't know. What do we do?
Yeah, and I had a final today, and I wasn't sure I was going to get out soon enough.
Oh, that's the real reason.
Yeah.
Now you tell me. He tried to blame it on me earlier. He said, well, I just, if you're not up to it, we just won't. I'm like, what? What is going on here? Now I get the truth. Okay.
So she was able to work out most of her aggression on her equipment, as you saw when the show started.
Y'all, yeah, I'm a mess. I'm a hot mess.
But I'm glad the guy is arrested, because if he was a fan of Kaczynski, he did keep the gun. Was he planning another one?
I mean, no offense, but if you let him go and tell him where Fauci is. I'm being bad. I'm sorry. Anywho.
Yeah, it's I think everybody should get a trial, but I just wonder if he had some more planned. Otherwise, why keep the gun? It's it'll be an easy match.
Well, even if you got rid of it, it'd be an easy match. Would it not?
Well, you could dispose of it in such a way that it would be rather difficult to find.
Like, can you?
Or it would be corrupted.
Yeah.
Do what?
I'm not sure what it was made out of. Was it like the plastic stuff?
Some of it might have been plastic. The barrel would have been, metal. You could use polymer for some of the parts of the slide and all. It wouldn't hold up as well.
Right.
But if you're looking for, something to be constructed for, to hold up just few rounds, obviously he did it on a 3D printer. So, Sky, he has a fancy defense lawyer who says he is not guilty of anything. So, That's just the starting position for the attorney. I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to throw in a, insanity plea or something somewhere along the line. If the eyebrows don't fit, you must
If the
acquit.
eyebrows don't creep across your face. Oh, Lord.
So anyway,
He's
he is
fighting
fighting
extradition.
extradition. Good luck to him. I don't.
What does that mean?
Well, he's arrested and is being held in Pennsylvania, and the
Oh.
murder
Like
occurred in
Kohlberger.
New York.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was thinking, was he out of the country? No, okay. The
no,
state.
no,
Gotcha.
just between states. Yeah, I've never heard of anybody really successfully doing that on a murder charge, particularly when he's found in possession of the weapon. That would be hard to it'd be hard to get away. Isn't that the same tagline from the Kohlberger case?
Eyebrows don't fit. You must acquit.
Quit.
Pennsylvania will send them to New York. And New York,
Yeah.
will New York extradite them?
No, New York is where the crime was committed,
Oh,
in New York City.
I
So
don't
they
know.
will try him
No,
there.
no one said it was in New York. Hell, I don't know anything about this.
Yeah,
Obviously.
unless Alvin Bragg decides not to try him. He's got other pressing matters to attend to.
Does he now?
Yeah, well, he's been on a kind of an impressive tear. They lost the Neely case.
Yeah.
With the guy that was just acquitted.
Yeah. Oh God,
And
BLM went all after that. Now they're going to do more protests and riots.
Well, one guy is trying to advocate it. I just haven't seen all I've seen is this guy yelling into a mic in front of a very small group. I don't see people out on the streets or whatever angry because couple things. One, this guy had been arrested, 47 times before?
Oh,
Two,
a bunch.
he was there threatening people, black and white people. Three,
Yes.
one of the guys helping him was a black guy.
Yep.
And, four, when the police came, the guy was alive and okay.
Mhm.
So, I don't see, I may be wrong, but I just don't see kind of the rage in the community as a whole to have mass riots or, violence or whatever.
Daniel Penny. That's right. And he never should have been arrested in the first place. That is true.
No,
But
he was
BLM,
protecting people who couldn't defend themselves. More power to him.
yeah, they were marching, or there was a group of them walking around, put it that way, in New York.
Yeah, I mean, in a city of how big is New York? 10 million people, 12 million people?
I don't know.
I don't even know. You're always going to find a handful of people, but I don't see the rage in the city to create disturbances really.
Well, they're
I think
asking
most
for it
people
all over
understand
the
what
country.
Melissa said. Yeah. I think most people understand what
Mhm.
Melissa said. It was never a
Mhm.
race thing. They made it into a race thing by arresting him
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
trying to try him in the media. So I blame the New York DA's office.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is that, the stories now are, the black community can't get police into their community because
Yeah.
they know that if anything happens and they can't protect themselves, they can't actually enforce the laws, or they could end up in jail for the rest of their lives. They're just not doing it.
Yeah, I think we have enough serious criminals out running around that really ought to be what's consuming the DA's time, not somebody who defends other people and the people he defended in a crowded area are all speaking very highly of him and thankful for what he did. That's just not that just doesn't deserve a whole lot of prosecutorial attention. There are more important things going on out there.
Yep. Yeah, there are.
All right, going to switch gears here.
All right,
Unless
while you do that, I'm going to take my tinkle break. Excuse me.
unless somebody else has some other questions or comments on Luigi or Penny, because I've gotten a few questions lately about Bitcoin. I know some of you have invested in Bitcoin recently, so thought we'd talk about that somewhat. I don't know how many of you closely follow the price, but Bitcoin got hammered today. It dropped from right under 100 down to 94. Right before the show, it had bounced back to 96.5 or 97. Thought I would try to check it here real quick. It's 96, roughly 96.6 now. So it's come back halfway. The really cool part was that $1.3 billion, billion with a B, was liquidated in just minutes this afternoon. And people say that's horrible. That's a bad thing, particularly if you just bought it at, 98, 99, or 100. But I say that's kind of a great thing because you can look, it kind of shows or demonstrates how resilient Bitcoin has become in terms of its investor demand and perception. I mean, if this drop had happened 2 or 3 years ago, it would have continued dropping down to 80 or 70. Instead of a 7 or 8% drop, you would have had a 30% drop. Now, these kind of shocks, and particularly the response to it, are, to me, demonstrating its increasing staying power. If it drops, 5, 6, 7%, that to major investors starts looking cheap. So they start buying it, and that ends the drop. It looks cheap to major money when it doesn't fall as much as it used to. Now, none of this means, or I'm not guaranteeing that it won't continue to have volatility. It will be volatile. But things like today, to me, demonstrate what I would say is an improvement in Bitcoin's reputation, which I think is important to keep in mind. Now, what caused this dump? Today, El Salvador. I've talked about some nations use it as a currency, with El Salvador being one. Well, El Salvador news came out today that El Salvador is expected to sign an agreement with the International Monetary Fund for a $1.3 billion loan deal. But as a requirement to receive that loan, it had to agree to ditch Bitcoin as legal tender. So that news forced that very quick dump. Now, when I look at the longer term impacts of that, Bitcoin is already fairly well entrenched in El Salvador. I am not terribly sure if this agreement will really hurt its use or acceptability in El Salvador. It just won't be official, at least for a while. The people down there have really grown accustomed to using it and to the low inflation. Look at the results for El Salvador since they adopted Bitcoin. Well, some months after, their first purchase, they bought, 200 Bitcoin to begin with. They now own a little under 6,000. They've been buying 1 Bitcoin a week for a while. So, a few months after they started buying it, inflation peaked at a little bit below 8%, 7.8%. And this was also, in June of 22 when Well, they adopted it in June of 22. Inflation was probably 5%. And this was also at the end of the pandemic, the lockdown. So, a lot of economies were just starting back up and, inflation, increased some because of that. But since that time, it kept falling. It's fallen steadily to where it was down from 8% to 0.58% in September. So just about half a percent down from 8%. That's pretty impressive. Their current account, which is a calculation, it's basically their net trade balance, net trade in goods and services. Their current account has shifted from a negative 182 million to a positive 243 million. That basically means, Cliff Notes version, that El Salvador is now a net lender to the world. Government debt decreased substantially from 78% of GDP down to 59% of GDP. Now, let's be clear. Not all of this is simply due to their adopting Bitcoin. The president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, has followed similar strategies, similar policies to Milei down in Argentina with similar results. So it's not just Bitcoin. There have been fiscal policies implemented and changes implemented, which, they have worked together well to try to stabilize and, in a way, revitalize that economy. Now, some have asked if you want to invest in Bitcoin, what are some good Bitcoin funds, or what, how do you buy direct? So I picked out, I guess, my 4 favorite funds. There's some others out there, but these are the 4 that if I, that I do actually own some. The first would be iShares. The symbol is IBIT. It just started last year. This is BlackRock's entry into Bitcoin funds. In last December, it was about $2 billion. As of this afternoon, it was $49 billion. So that's a pretty good change in assets invested in the fund. That's almost, 3.5, a little under $4 billion a month just in this one fund going into Bitcoin. Performance wise, it's up 106% on the year. Let's see, got a question. Can you post the names? Let me do this. Let's see. Give me just a second. This is kind of an informal deal. I get home late generally on Tuesday, so I don't have time to, really type or print something out to make it, a nice little media presentation. So let's do this. See if this helps. Is that better? And I can't spell Fidelities if I Delity. How's that? And then the symbol, if you want to look them up, is in parentheses. So you ought to be able to type that symbol in and find information if you want to look at those. So starting off with iShares, like I say, it's up 106% on the year. So if whatever you invested in it in January, 1st of January, it would have increased 106%. The next is Fidelity's Wise Origin Fund, symbol FBTC. It was at 1.3 billion at the beginning of the year. Now it's 21 billion. So you're looking at, 1.8 billion going in every month, a little less than $2 billion every month. This is only two funds. So you've got roughly 3 billion going into BlackRock's, 2 billion going into Fidelity's, and this is only two funds. This is up 107% on the year. Now, one good thing about Fidelity's fund, it has a 0.25% expense ratio. It's one of the lowest. Another one would be the Bitwise fund, BITB. This is a newer, smaller fund, but it is listed on the New York Stock Exchange ARCA exchange. It's a premier trading platform, which means it has very, very good liquidity, very, very good exposure, easy to find, easy to trade, and it has a very low management fee, a fee of 0.2% per year, which is pretty attractive. You want low expenses because that just literally nets out of your return. And if your expense charge in a fund is 0.2%, that's really not going to impact your total return over time. It's added about 3 billion of its 4 billion in assets. It's a smaller fund, 4 billion, but it's added 3 billion of that just in the last 2 months. It's up 107% on the year as well. And then the final one is ARK. ARK 21. ARKB is the symbol. It also has a very low fee of 0.21%. And it's also up 107%. So all of these funds are up 106, 107%. There's really no outperformance in these funds. It pretty much tracks Bitcoin's actual appreciation during the year. So, less 0.2%, which is just not significant. Even if you bought Bitcoin directly, there still would be a small fee attached to every purchase. So these four funds are close to me. They're liquid. You can get them through well-established, regulated, well-capitalized brokerage firms. You can attach those accounts to your checking account and move money from your checking account to the investment, from the investment to your checking account. So the money is readily available to you, and it's very liquid. So, and these are all, like I say, offered through reputable brokerage firms, not some fly-by-night organization. Now, I mentioned buying directly. I've gotten a few questions on that. Let's see. If you wanted to... There she is.
Hey, sorry. I had to take dogs out. They were going nuts.
It's all right. If you wanted to buy directly, you have to have a small input device. I say small input device. Most people who buy directly have a small input device. It looks like a jump drive, but it's actually an input and storage device. Now, Ledger is a popular manufacturer. It's actually the kind I have. And, since I bought mine, they have, come out with a number of different models. Trying to shrink this down here. As you can tell, hopefully, here are three of their primary models. This is just about half the size of a phone, and it's got a little touch screen on it. Well, that doesn't look like a jump drive. The other one, same kind of idea. It's in a little folding case. That doesn't look like a jump drive. Both of these are pretty new within the past year. This one is more comparable to what I and most people have. As you can tell, this is why I call it a little jump drive. But it's got two buttons on it. One button is right here in the cover. One is right here on the unit itself. And those are up and down buttons. So you can scroll through these functions and go to different functions. Now, this is the traditional wallet, cold storage wallet. So if you want to own Bitcoin and you want to hold it yourself, it would be in this device.
Now, Clay, let me just give a little. When I decided I wanted to buy Bitcoin, Clay decided that it was not a good idea for me to get one of these because I can't keep up with my keys or my phone or anything else most of the time. And he was like, "Yeah, no, we're not doing that."
That is a consideration. Now, if you lose this, you actually can recover your account.
They've changed that then.
No, always has been.
Well, what's the guy that lost his thing in the trash dump?
Oh, that's not it. Well,
I found a seed phrase. Now what? Jeez,
Google just sucks. There it is. All right. I say you can, if you lose your jump drive, your wallet, when you first get that wallet and are setting it up via Ledger, there's some software. And by using the up and down keys, you choose 12 or 24 words. And these words come off this list. There are 2,048 different words, which means like, I don't know, there's a trillion different combinations you can use. So you pick 24 of these words, and that's your seed phrase. And as long as you have that seed phrase somewhere else, you can recover your account. So you can lose that jump drive, get a new jump drive, use your seed phrase, and all the information is restored to that drive. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the guy that threw his away in England, he actually was running the code on his computer. And so he never established a seed phrase.
Okay.
And the computer was thrown away with the hard drive.
I thought it was just a jump drive or just a hard drive he had it on separate.
No, it was a hard drive, and he was running the code, and so the account and everything was kept on this hard drive. And he didn't place much stock in it. I don't know if he forgot about it or whatever, and the computer was thrown away. Well, a couple years, whatever, 2 years later, when Bitcoin started appreciating in value, he was like, I wish I had that back.
Yeah.
So last I saw, the value of the account he had was over $600 million.
Wow.
Yeah, that would hurt. But so this is a little tedious to type out and choose the seed phrase, but you do it once, you're locked in. You just need to make sure that seed phrase is in a different location, and you can buy basically titanium cards that you can, come with a bunch of alphabet letters, and you just break them off and insert in this thing, and that's your seed phrase, and it's indestructible. Fire, whatever won't hurt it. You put it in your safety deposit box, whatever. But you protect this drive or you protect the seed phrase. And your phone will actually operate if you have this wallet. So you can do a lot of the transactions on your phones, but you have to connect it to your wallet first to make sure you're the approved user. So this is not difficult. It's not technically difficult. It has some advantages, some disadvantages. But if if you're interested in owning it direct, this is how you would do it. You would buy one of these and then follow the steps. Once you have this plugged into your computer, the app runs on your computer and you can buy Bitcoin directly through that from, paying for it through your checking account. So it's not difficult to do this, but with the advent of some of the modern funds, ETFs, that is easier, in some ways a little less riskier, maybe marginally more expensive, but barely, to an insignificant degree. But it's your call, your choice. But I thought I would just give you a real Cliff Notes version of that.
That's pretty cool.
Now, something else with Bitcoin that I've seen the past few days has to do with concerns over the development of quantum computing. Anybody out there familiar with quantum computing?
A little.
I'm sitting here thinking, I was looking at the conversation. I moved from a murder case and everybody was talking, chatting, participating. And I moved to finance and everybody goes quiet. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I ought to stick with murders. We ought to change this to Moffat on murders or something.
Moffat on murder. It's funny because it's like now it's supposed to be Q&A for them, and it's Q&A for us because I was like, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Tell me. Well, oh shit! Did the thing with the thing again. There we go.
You all right there?
Yeah, I hit my mouse. Sorry, I'm trying to get some stuff out of my way too. Get on my nerves.
Well, the thing about Bitcoin is part of its allure is it's unhackable. Once you have your account, if you protect your seed phrase, if you protect your private key, basically your password, nobody can hack it. Nobody can steal your Bitcoin. Well, with the advent of quantum computing, some people are now, theorizing that it could be possible to hack Bitcoin accounts. So I wanted to take a minute and look at that possibility. First, let's start off understanding the current state of computing. The information is structured in bytes. And when I say bytes, that's just a sequence of 8 numbers or characters based on the ASCII code.
The what?
ASCII.
ASCII?
Yeah.
Okay. II, whatever.
The ASCII is just a combination of zeros and ones. You've all probably heard of that. Many of you may not have seen how that actually works. So here is the ASCII table. And if you look, you've got bytes. And you'll notice this byte is just a series of 8 zeros. This is a series of 7 zeros and 1. Oh, sorry. Is that better?
Yes, much.
Sorry about that. So ASCII code, bytes, 8 characters, either 0 or 1. So you'll notice how the numbering works. This is all zeros, which is called the null. It represents nothing. The 7 zeros followed by a 1 is not used. So these first 6 or 7 are not used. So let me go on down to the alphabet, or numbers. We'll do numbers first. Actually, the 48th in the series, with 8 decimal places and being binary, either a 0 or 1 at each spot, you've got 256 different possible combinations. And the way it works is, we're used to seeing numbers increase incrementally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, these don't. These are just a 0 or a 1. So here, for the number 0, it's represented in ASCII as 2 zeros, 2 ones, then 4 zeros. Well, the next number in the series is 2 zeros, 2 ones, 3 zeros, and a 1. So that's incremented by 1 character. The next one doesn't go to 2, it goes back to 0, and the preceding character moves to 1. So it's 2 zeros, 2 ones, 2 zeros, a 1 and a 0.
Well, that's how you count binary.
Yes.
If you're only using ones and zeros, you got to change and then up it and then change the next number, if that makes any sense.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to communicate. It's
sorry.
kind of weird the first time you look at this, because you're expecting, like this one, 0001 to go to 0002, but it doesn't. It goes to 0010. So all that, and then you get the capital letters, and then you get the lowercase letters. So all of computing, ever since computing began, has been in this ASCII byte format. Everything you type you're actually typing this ASCII, and that's what the computer uses to process documents, math, pictures. Everything is in this ASCII text. Each dot on your computer screen is basically represented by this ASCII text, or several of these ASCII bytes. All right, that's the way computing is now. So the improvements we've seen in computing has been the ability to process these numbers faster and faster and faster. Okay, but this technology, this symbol, this underlying operation hasn't changed since computing began. We've had faster chips, we've had faster data storage, same process that was 30, 40, 50 years ago.
And all those zeros, mean no, and the ones mean yes.
Basically. Yes, basically. The problem is we're getting near the end of the ability to improve that process, to improve that speed. There are certain physical constraints. And so iPhones, have you noticed how basically the iPhone hasn't changed its function or capability over the past 5 years? The camera goes from 6 pixels to 8 to 10, whatever, but your eyes can't tell the difference unless you blow it up the size of a wall. Well, this technology is getting near the end of its ability to improve. So the next real leaps in more powerful computing have to come from using a different paradigm, a different method of processing information, different way of looking at electrons. That's what it really boils down to. And that's where quantum physics comes in. That's why it's called quantum computing. Yeah, I was about to say quantum mechanics. quantum physics, and I'm going to be real Cliff Notesy here, but the whole idea of quantum physics is to describe how particles behave at extremely small scales. Instead of using bits to transmit data or information, it uses qubits, Qubits, qubits. The amazing thing is qubits can exist in multiple states simultaneously. This simultaneous existence is a state called superposition. Think of it as a qubit representing either a 0 or a 1, or perhaps both at the same time. Ellen, what the hell are you banging on?
Sorry, hang on.
Anyway, she's taking a hammer to her computer, exacting revenge. The qubit, quantum, is actually the ability of these qubits to exist in simultaneous states. The second main property of application in quantum physics to this is the property known as entanglement. And entanglement is the ability of qubit to know or react to the state of another qubit, regardless of the distance involved. And this gets a little weird, I admit, but think of it as, a love or attachment for someone to such a degree that even if they're not in your presence, that if something bad happens to them, you know it. You know something has happened to them, even if you're not around. I really can't explain it any better. It's an amazing property. But the key difference is that using bytes, in classical computing, a computer can only do calculations sequentially in order. Has to do the first one, then the next, then the next, then the next. Well, quantum computing with qubits, they can process multiple states or possibilities simultaneously due to the superpositioning. Basically, instead of having to evaluate solutions one by one, quantum can evaluate many solutions at the same time. This is a huge, huge advantage for calculations that involve extensive mathematical combinations, probabilities, possibilities, things that would require immense computer resources if tried to accomplish using conventional computers. Now, I seriously doubt you'll have a quantum computer on your desktop. It's really not necessary, and in many cases, not even an upgrade to normal computers. They simply are superior for one task: the optimization of problems like logistics. Think about if you've got all the roads in America, the highways, the streets, the states, the alleys, whatever, you've got all the roads, and you're, UPS, and you want to optimize all of your routes for your 100,000 drivers and delivery vans. You've got almost infinite possibilities or options, considering every possible turn, red lights, 2-lane road versus 4-lane, roads with turning lanes, roads without, one-way streets. Well, if you set your parameters, what's your priority? The lowest total miles, the quickest time, the most gas efficient. If you ran that on classical computers, even if you had an extremely fast one, it would take an eon of processing time to optimize the routes. It does one solution and then evaluates it against the previous solution. Will keep the better of the two, and then it does the next possible solution. So you've got all these almost infinite possibilities. And so that's the time that would be involved. A quantum computer could do this probably in a matter of minutes. To give you an example, Google has just produced its first quantum chip called Willow. Don't know where they got the name, but Willow, like the tree. It took, as a measure of its ability, it took one of the first standard computational problems called random circuit sampling, RCS. This would take the fastest classical computer probably about 10 septillion years to complete. So practically never. Willow completed the task in 5 minutes.
What? Sorry.
Yeah, that's that simultaneous processing of all the possibilities and options. The improvement is staggering. Absolutely staggering. To me, it's also a little scary. Like Melissa said, that's why we have to move to alien technology.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of makes you wonder, is this alien technology? But so the problem is, as far as Bitcoin, is you've got a seriously encrypted bit of information. Bitcoin actually uses 5 different encryption steps to encode the data, the key data. Well, with quantum computing, it may if it reaches a certain point, it has the ability to crack all those encryption code processes. So up till quantum computing, Bitcoin was considered unhackable. Well, so is quantum computing a threat? Yes and no. One, it's a ways away. Willow is only 105 qubits. To crack Bitcoin's algorithm, you need probably 400 qubits, maybe 500 qubits. Now, that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it really is, because the complexity and the difficulty with quantum computing rises exponentially as you add qubits, because the qubit calculation, the qubit process with all the simultaneous solutions creates a lot of errors. So you have to have the ability to error correct for all those errors. So the data that I've seen shows that for each qubit in logical power, you need to have at least hundreds or possibly thousands of other qubits for error correction. So going from 105 qubits to 300 to 400 qubits really is a huge order of magnitude of improvement in the error correction process, which we're very much away from. Cliff notes, we're probably 8 to 10 years away from that tech at least. And if that improvement in technology appears likely, then there's a relatively simple remedy to it as far as Bitcoin is concerned. the Bitcoin code itself can be adapted to make it quantum computing resistant. You just change the code a little bit, you use different encryption programs, and you won't be able to be hacked via quantum computing. This is something that would be called a hard fork. And it has gone through a hard fork previously in 2016. So it's a relatively, simple process to do. The hard fork basically creates a new coin. That's why it's called a hard fork. A soft fork is just a change in the software that still accepts the current coins. A hard fork won't accept the current coins, but there's an upgrade available. So if you have current Bitcoin and you want to upgrade it to the new encryption, it can be done easily or will be done automatically. So Ethereum, for example, has just gone through that same process, relatively seamless process. So is quantum computing a threat? Not for a while. In its current state, possibly. But is there a relatively simple fix? Yes. So I don't really worry too much about quantum computing impacting the value or attractiveness of Bitcoin. It's a technological issue. There's a technological solution. It doesn't really alter the underlying incentive or nature of Bitcoin. The tech can be adapted easily, seamlessly. So it just doesn't change or affect Bitcoin's applicability to modern monetary currency exchange problems. So if it's any consolation, we'll keep an eye on it and we'll try to keep you, updated as best we can. If you've got some questions or if some of that really didn't make sense, let me know. But just, I know this is something that, some of you are buying Bitcoin and you'll probably hear increased conversation on this issue over the next 6 months, a year, whatever. And so now you have some background. Now you know or have some reason to, have confidence that you can discuss the issue a little bit better, try to get more information on it. If y'all want to know more about Bitcoin's encryption process or its structure, how the process of hard forks versus soft forks work, the risk of quantum, whatever, let us know. I'll get Ellen right on it. She loves this stuff.
I do.
But it is something you will hear more about in the months or years to come. So just remember where you heard it first.
Right here. It's what we do.
Now, I still want to go back to some murder or something.
We could do the one where that picture that you sent me today about how your AI girlfriend could kill you, but your regular girlfriend probably could too, or would too.
Yeah, that's on my phone. I don't have it on my computer.
Oh,
but
I gotcha.
There's even a movie or something out about a guy who had a robot as a maid. And it was played by, who was the girl in Transformers?
I thought that was the Stepford Wives. Wasn't that like a robot thing?
No, different movie.
Huh.
He's got a little daughter, and I don't know, something happened to his wife or whatever, so he gets this robot to help out with chores around the home, and she's just very compliant and whatever. But I think there's a deeper, darker mystery there. I have not watched the movie, but I saw that ad for that, and then I saw that little meme I sent to you.
Melissa, Sky, come on.
Yeah, this is y'all's bailiwick. This is y'all's
Yes,
field.
it is.
Um,
Definitely.
I can see her face. I can't think of her name. She dated the goofy white rapping punk. She got pregnant by him, just broke up because she found some text or something she didn't like.
Eminem,
No,
Vanilla Ice.
no. Who was the
Joaquin
girl?
Phoenix film.
No, the girl in Transformers. She was
I,
young.
you're killing me, Smalls.
Y'all are Megan Fox.
I don't know who that is.
Okay. Well, yeah, she's in the star of the movie. Or one of the stars in the movie. I can't think of the name of it,
Is it
but
a recent movie?
I think so. Google, Megan Fox robot maid.
Google. You Google it. Goofball? Why do I have to Google it? Ah, AirPod.
Subservience. 24 sci-fi thriller Subservience. Not a
Not
fan.
a fan.
Yeah, I would not call her a great classical actress. But the thing was I saw this trailer or preview on
Hmm.
watching something, and then I saw this meme. It was a girl who actually looked like her, I think, and then the caption was, your future sex robot can be hacked and and instructed to kill you. And then somebody posted underneath it, well, how's that any different from your real girlfriend? And so kind of snickered over that, sent that to Ellen. So that's what stirred this discussion. Subservience. Yep. Melissa. Nope.
Nope. Negativo. Not going to happen.
She is not a great Shakespearean actress.
No, not even close.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, I won't comment anymore.
What? Crazy fool.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. We're doing the same thing at the same time. Stop it.
That wasn't me. That was quantum.
Uh-huh.
I'm in a quantum state.
That's why she's popular. Pretty much.
I mean, they never cease to amaze.
Boobs.
That. Yeah.
It's no raw talent, that's for sure.
Yeah. No. But she wouldn't be the first one that it applied to either. I mean, you look. I don't even know the name. I don't know her account, but some girl, got some headlines the other day. She was retiring from OnlyFans after 3 years.
Okie dokie.
She had made $64 million. 3 years showing her boobs.
Well, there's Pamela Anderson.
Same. Yeah. There's a long litany of them, but it's just a practical reality.
Mm-hmm.
Can't argue with any of that. Whether you're for or against, it is just there's a lot.
Wait, stop it. There's a lot of lonely, horny, sad people out there who have apparently too much money, or probably not enough anymore for paying these girls who think they're going to get this great husband out of this. And they don't understand. That is another thing about Gen Z millennials. They think that, a real man is going to want them to marry them, to have children with them, while they have this past on the internet that's never going to go away.
Yeah, I don't know. Like when I was growing up, we hated illegal wiretaps. I mean, that's what basically got Nixon to resign. 30 short years later, there's no concern about illegal wiretaps because everybody is going out and buying the wiretaps themselves and putting it in their homes. Alexa, Siri, your phone, your computer. This generation just puts their whole life up on Snap or Instagram
And boobs and vagina and everything else.
It's just all over. So I don't know how that's going to shake out. I hope things are starting to turn a little bit, and people are starting to be try to encourage a little bit more personal respect or privacy. I don't know. But it's just it has certainly gotten. I mean, when somebody can make $64 million in 3 years just by displaying their body.
Some people call that a whore, but okay.
Maybe it's just me, but that just seems like not a good incentive. I don't know. Anyway.
My self-respect, and I hope that most women's self-respect is worth more than that.
Yeah, women date serial killers and men don't care who they date. As a man. Go ahead.
Men don't care who they is in the women, or men don't care who they themselves date? That's my first question.
Okay, good question.
I need some clarification there, Sky. Yeah, I don't want to jump to a conclusion based on information that I might not be understanding correctly.
Yeah, well, just women date serial killers. That kind of brings up a point that I've kind of stated, not necessarily on the air, but in talking to people. I don't. In my dating life, I have not really cared what women say they want. I have cared what they respond to. And women respond to different things than what they oftentimes say they want. Like, if you're out on a first date and you ask a woman what all she wants, she'll talk about nice, honest, hardworking, whatever. But what they end up dating are the guys who are serial killers, bums.
Look at it like this, though, Clay. When women communicate, they say what they feel, not what they mean.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So,
in any communication, whether it's an argument or whatever, a woman says anything, they say what they feel, not what they mean.
So we have no chance. But
because men tend to come at it with logic.
Well, and and this doesn't apply to all women. Doesn't apply to all men. It's just kind of a
generalization.
When I was in college, if I wanted to go out with an attractive girl, I wouldn't be nice to her. I would probably neg her first time I met her, and then just walk away. So it sounds, I don't know, mean or whatever. But, in talking in small groups with, mixed groups and all, the women, once to go into the discussion and they talk about, I dated this guy. I knew he was bad for me. I knew he, whatever. And it wasn't anything like they said that they, if you just ask them what they want, it's nothing like what they said they wanted. So it's weird. Sometimes I wonder if we would be better off in arranged marriages.
All right, hang on, Sky.
Men will date OnlyFans, hoping to get them free for life.
I don't wait. There's a caveat to that, because a quality man, a man that you want to be with for the rest of your life, does care, and he will date you. He will not marry you. He will not marry up to that.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was going to say. Mm-hmm. If he's a high, what is it? High quality, high
value. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about morals and ethics and
character, principles,
yes,
whatever.
Right.
Has a good balance or view towards life. Doesn't Correct. Just want a side piece.
Correct.
Or a trophy wife. Wants a family kind of thing. So, yeah, those type of guys won't marry an OnlyFans kind of chick.
They will date them all day long, but they will not marry them.
Yeah. Most people's actions and words don't match. I agree with that. They don't. I'm a little biased toward guys. I think we are a little simpler because I think we, have the thing about Jerry Seinfeld that made it so funny. It would take the littlest quirks and blow them up into a whole episode. And I remember this one time he went out on a date with this girl who was relatively attractive, but she turned him off because she would take her fork and eat one pea at a time. I'm thinking practical reality, there's 0 out of 100 guys that would give 2 flips about that.
Yeah.
But it made a great Seinfeld episode. So, I think guys are a little simpler in that regard. Lots of men want to save the prostitute.
Maybe to an extent, but not to marry her. He wants to sleep with her. He doesn't want anyone else to, because he may find that he really likes her. But I still don't see the marrying up.
Yeah, there are exceptions or cases where that might happen. But again, with a guy with a good outlook on life, mm-hmm. good values, principles, whatever. If she had been one years ago and really cleaned up, turned her life around, whatever, I could see it then. As far as meeting one and wanting to marry one, I would say the chances of that are extremely rare.
Are you talking about me? I do have large hands. What?
You don't have man hands?
Yes, I do. Let's see.
No, I mean you're 5'10". You are not a.
I'm 5'8 3/4.
Oh, I thought you were taller.
I'm short. Remember, you call me shorty all the time.
5'9".
Whatever.
Anyway, I'm the eldest here besides Biden, who is out. I have a friend who married an ex-con and one who married a prostitute. Many arranged marriages who are miserable. Yeah, there is no perfect solution. We don't live in a perfect world. People are imperfect, and there are things in society which I think weaken the marriage structure. There's so many temptations, so many other influences, so many pressures that for previous centuries, husbands and wives were generally isolated, maybe around a few close friends, didn't have all the visual distractions, all the entertainment distractions, all that kind of stuff. So, there are things in our society which are not conducive to a long-term, permanent, loving relationship. And I think that's a little sad.
Well, I think that
But
we have traded what is sacred and valuable for
what is convenient?
convenient and the next thing. Like our need for something new and different has become to outweigh what is more important.
Yeah, we are increasingly as a society more interested in entertainment, entertaining ourselves, and we're constantly looking for that next entertainment. So, um, and that gets ingrained at a very small age, putting them in front
Yeah.
of TVs all the time and having constant stimulation and, not being able to work through and resolve problems or complex problems, not being able to put somebody else's interest above their own.
And how do you think that that the Gen Z is going to do when they have no self motivation, lack of wanting to do anything? How's that going to work in marriage?
I mean, some of them are in for a really hard life.
Yeah.
So, I've got some very good students, proud of them. And I've got a lot of students who are trying. And so I'll give them credit for that. I think they have been somewhat handicapped by the system, and hopefully they're working to overcome that.
Right.
But yeah, there's some that just, you know, it's just going to be a lot of pain. Stupid should hurt.
Well, it's not going to help the future generations at all. Their
No.
children and their children. Hopefully, somehow we can figure out how to get the core family system to work again.
Yeah. And I'm not a dating uh counselor or
No.
whatever, and I'm not offering my opinions or thoughts, representing the final say. They are broad generalizations. Again,
Hmm.
they don't apply to every woman or every guy. Just general observations I see in society and what I see reoccurring in friends, family, and even my own life. So take it for what it's worth.
Take it for what you paid for
Yep, exactly.
it.
Couple other things in finance.
Oh hell, we lost him now.
Yeah, end of conversation. Housing has been an issue, and several people have wondered whether or not they'll be able to buy a house or what's going to happen to rents, etc. Well, housing continues to be in a world of hurt. There's been a slowdown in new construction, which to me implies there will be increasing layoffs in the construction industry over the next few months, as well as the suppliers of housing's raw materials. You've got lumber, you've got flooring, carpet, tile, you've got, steel, ductwork, air
Hmm.
conditioning, you've got durable goods, dishwashers, refrigerators, stoves, microwaves, nails, insulation, concrete. All of those are going to experience, I mean, housing is the most important industry in the country. It involves the greatest number and diversity of people and firms and companies and industries and
Materials.
inputs. Yeah. So when housing starts to hurt, the whole economy hurts.
Mhm.
Just saw where residential units under construction dropped by 17% on a 6-month annualized rate through October.
Shit.
That's the biggest drop since the subprime crisis. Housing units under construction have dropped for 15 straight months. Again, the longest streak since 2008.
Wow.
Just saw a Texas real estate developer say that a European REIT was selling all of their rentals in, and a REIT is, think of it as a mutual fund that owns apartment complexes and commercial office space and strip malls.
Right.
They are selling all of their units in Georgia, Tennessee, in the Southeast in general. If one of them is doing it, probably some others. If you look at private real estate, it's losing its luster. You know, if speculators start seeing this collapse, this fall, this drop, I guess I should describe it as a drop, then, you know, they're going to start joining in. And then there's commercial. This is the change in commercial real estate prices, which is demand for commercial real estate. And this is since the end of the third quarter in 23.
I'm not surprised. I'm actually shocked that it's not worse than that.
Yeah, it's going to get worse. You know, that's a pretty significant shift. You know, we've had the subprime drop. We had a brief drop in the lockdowns. Obviously, when everybody couldn't go to work. But now, I mean, this is the worst drop since the subprime crisis. You ever get tired of saying that?
Yes.
Any of y'all watch The Big Short? The movie on the subprime crisis.
I kind of lived it.
Yeah, you remember the way bank and investment ratings work in that movie? How, you know, the rating agencies, there were three main ones, S&P, Moody's, and what's the third one? Moody's, S&P, anyway, three main ones. If you don't give the structure a good rating, somebody else will. Remember when they were talking to the lady at the rating agency? She basically said, we'll rate everything in A, because if we don't, somebody else will do it and they'll get the money.
Right.
Well, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind as you look at this. This is the numbers of troubled commercial real estate loans at U.S. banks. And this is mostly regional banks. Here's the COVID moment. But look what's happened since the middle of 2023. Delinquencies are going exponential. The big thing is this modified loan category that you see here, also steeply increasing. Modified loans. Basically, these are loans that probably should be in default, but the bank, instead of, forcing default, refinanced it and modified the loan to give easier payment terms to whoever the borrower was. The problem this raises to me is that it seems like to me, with the history of the subprime crisis, because this is exactly what happened in the subprime crisis, regulatory authority, particularly over the banking industry, will have a harder and harder time accepting commercial real estate loans doing everything but actually defaulting, and the banks rolling them over. There's an old adage in banking: a rolling loan gathers no loss. Remember, banks don't take losses well, but it's basically fraud if they have a lender who's not able to repay the loan and they don't default. The banks don't recognize that default. Keep in mind, real estate values, particularly in residential and commercial office space, are still falling. Don't get me wrong. In most states, housing inventory is still somewhat tight compared to pre-pandemic levels, but buyers are also much fewer, far fewer than they were then. You know, a lot of homeowners don't want to sell because they don't want to give up their 2.5 or 3% mortgages. Now, as time goes by, more and more are going to have to. But we're also in an environment where rates are dropping, but inflation is rising. You know, at some point, this system is going to break.
It's my bedtime too, Sky.
Yeah, it's about time. So,
And Melissa said we need to watch that for maybe night.
The Big Short.
Mm-hmm.
That's a damn good movie. I won't say it's completely historically accurate because a lot of the dialogue is made up, but it's still pretty consistent with what happened, and would be a good movie to watch. All right. Good night, Sky. Good night, Ellen. For all of y'all that have been
Sweet
with
dreams.
us, before you leave, please hit that like button.
Subscribe
if you haven't. Do the
notifications
YouTube things. If you've got some questions, email me, moffatonmoney@gmail.com, or DM me on Twitter, moffatonmoney. Really appreciate y'all sharing the evening with us. Hoped you learned something, and or that it was at least profitable time in some shape, manner, or form. And we'll look forward to seeing you Saturday night. Good night, y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Our time is up. We thank you for yours.